Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show, bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Recording live in studio, here's Nick and Matt.
What's up, everybody? Episode number 74. Nick, I almost pulled a you and said like some random number.
I actually just looked at it on the YouTube page and I was like, wait, what are we on? 73, 74, 75, one of those. But 74, and that's where we're at this week, folks.
Nick, you're not in studio, and people probably are like, dang, your audio sounded so good last week.
I know, right? Yeah, eventually, when I get set up, a whole studio and everything like that, I'll have good camera, good microphone. We'll go back to some decent quality. I'll get a green screen so it'll look like that I'm in studio every single time. But for now, we're going to have to make do. Bring out the content.
Oh, man. We're going to have to pull up almost every episode where Nick says, in the future, when I get a camera, in the future.
Yeah, I know, right?
Everybody, this is how it goes. I got him a tripod for this, and he doesn't look bad tonight, but it got left in Massachusetts. So we'll have to try again. I'm going to ship directly to his house. Okay, cool. Enough razzing, Nick, and enough people do that as is, I'm sure. Tonight, really cool show. Oh, by the way, I've got a lot of buttons. We still got Ben, we're going to call him our intern producer until he's officially the producer. Say hi, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
It's always going to be that background noise saying hello. And then we have back in studio, how do I pull this up? Here we go. Let's try this way. This should work, everybody. Oh, there we go.
Check this out.
Hey, there we go.
How's it going, guys?
Evan is back in studio. How was your weekend snow activity?
Yeah, you guys couldn't remember skiing.
Skiing.
A lot of people do
I
it.
thought it was skiing.
No, I'm just playing around. Yeah, it was good. The season's been a little slow to get snow. Some places are making a lot of snow. Some places are not making as much snow. But no, it was still fun. Not a lot of crowds that weekend. I went yesterday and it was line as far as you could see. It was a lot less fun as far as lines go.
You just stand around and
but
wait.
Still fun to ski. Yes.
We were just laughing because we're like, what's the politically correct way not to offend the skiers by saying snowboard or vice versa? That's
exactly.
Funny.
No, I thought you guys did a great job. I appreciate it.
My brother filled in for you. It was not the same.
Yeah.
And
when I Skype in, I got all the ski maps behind me. So you guys should know, like, wow, those are ski maps.
What's the difference between a ski map and a snowboard map?
Okay, that's fair. So I didn't think about that. Whoops.
Okay. So today we got 6 inches of snow, but it turned to rain for like hours. And I have a video. I'm not going to pull it up on here, but it was like a literal river, couple inches, 3 or 4 inches going across my driveway today while I'm out there trying to snow blow and shovel. It's just horrible.
Jeez.
So that's kind of the weather situation. We do have Chris Dickerson coming on later, and as in like 15 minutes from now. So stick around. Thanks everybody for joining. We have a fair amount of live guests right now listening, but we want to see those likes kind of progress. So if you're watching live right now, it's pretty easy. Hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it. The algorithm's moving from Foundation podcast to here. Be very helpful to start making this channel active again. Nick, a few things have happened since we last met. Some of them significant. We're going to talk about them, like Haley going to Innova. That's a topic we're going to get to. I think we addressed this, but Paul left Foundation. If not, we're going to just make mention of that. The Foundation, as in like Foundation Disc Golf, not his foundation.
Yeah.
And a lot of other topics. But since last week, Nick, disc golf has kind of started, right? Kind of. Maybe.
It's finally starting back up. Yeah, there's tournaments going on down in Florida. They just had the first AT of the year down in Arizona with, we'll talk about it later, but the Shelly Sharp Memorial just happened. You can check out the coverage of that on the Disc Golf Guys channel, Terry Miller's. And it was kind of nice to watch disc golf again. And I've seen coverage of Vista over and over and over. And so it gets repetitive watching that course for me. But at the same time, it is fun to see my friends out there competing, having a good time, and much, much warmer weather than I'm sure what we are dealing with right now.
Yeah. Warmer, sunnier, nicer, shorts, t-shirts, just generally nice. So Statmando, we're going to warm him up a little bit. I said, what do you got prepared? He's like, we're going to talk a little bit. So give us the rundown, Evan. What did you come up with for this? Anything interesting? Anything at all that you came up with? We'll react to that.
Yeah, well, to start with the MPO side, Anthony Barella took it down. He defeated Adam Hammis, who was a 2-time runner-up going into this. I think he finished 9th overall. But
He was a
Barella took it.
2-time champion. He was the reigning champ.
Yeah, 2-time reigning champion. I don't know if I said that correctly, but
You
he
said
won.
runner-up.
Oh, whoops! It's the beginning of the
It's
season.
the warm-up.
We're getting warmed
Yeah,
up.
hey,
We
we're
already
good.
said
We're-
that. It's
we're-
gonna be the
we're
warm-up.
figuring it out.
Yeah,
we're good.
Hammis won this Shelly Sharp Memorial in both 2020 and 2021. It is 2022 now. Anthony Barella takes it down. He actually took down this tournament in 2019 as well, and that makes him tied for second most wins at Shelly Sharp Memorial in the last like 10 to 15 years, behind Paul Ulibarri, who's won this 4 times. But there's a lot of duplicate winners. Ricky Wysocki won it twice, Hammis, Ulibarri, and so on. On the FPO side, Jennifer Allen took it down. She is the FP40 Masters World Champion. I don't know exactly how that title goes. But from last year, she took down FP40. She's playing an FPO. She won by, I believe, 9 strokes over Callie McMorrin. I don't have this in front of me, going off memory, getting the season again. But she beat Owen Scoggins by, let me pull this up real quick.
Pulling it up.
By 18 strokes. Allen is now 4-3 in Arizona FPO events versus Scoggins. And that was her first win ever in an Arizona event, which is, I believe, Jennifer Allen's home state, or at least it's listed on PDGA. Owen Scoggins is from California, though. But this is the 7th event with both of them. First time Jen Allen's taken it down. She had 5 straight podiums without a win in Arizona FPO events with Owen Scoggins in the field prior to this. So she finally took down the win, and by a lot.
So, yeah, she's Jennifer Allen. Unique throwing style, can throw really far. She can take down the events, and there's nothing to be taken away from. But these are the events that she should take down. Congratulations to her. Against Owen Scoggins. I mean, my reaction is they're probably very equal-esque, in my opinion. React to that. Nick, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends, like you were just saying, it all depends on what course you're putting them at. I think this course, Jennifer definitely has an advantage over Owen, but on a wooded course, you see Owen throughout the year has done extremely well on wooded courses. Owen's a very, very, very good putter. Jennifer is a very, very good driver. And so on a course like Vista, very open, very bomber friendly, it definitely played to her strength. And unfortunately, I haven't seen any coverage of it. I don't know if there is going to be, but it looks like the way that she was averaging her ratings, I mean, she played above her rating. So her putting must have felt pretty good. So maybe that's something that she improved on in the off season. But nonetheless, big congratulations to her. And then Callie McMorrin, second place. I don't know too much about Callie's game. I've never really seen it that much. I think she's just a pretty consistent player all around the board. But a good second place finish at an A tier to start the year. That's definitely got to be, nice jump in the right direction.
Yeah, I've actually had the privilege of filming a round with Callie McMorrin out at Wild Horse. And yeah, you just described it. Really consistent, solid player. I don't think you're going to see many explosive rounds out of her, like Katrina or Haley or Paige, like names who can explode, but consistent, and put her up against any regional FPO player, and she should be at the top. Like that, like she's not subpar. Well, isn't it weird when you use subpar in the game of golf, like describing it?
Yeah, no, right?
She is subpar, probably.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that. Anything else that stands out about that event? We covered it all.
I mean, I wanted to give a quick shout out to longtime player Dan Ginley. Anyone know how to pronounce that?
No.
I believe he is a 7-time Shelly Sharp Memorial winner. So I mentioned Paul Ulibarri had 4 wins at this event, which I would have to go back and double check, but I believe is the second most, Ulibarri with 4. But Dan Ginley with 7, or Ginley. I'm sorry.
Nice.
It's like people spelling your name wrong,
Yeah,
right?
it's like Jeremia, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Jeremia. Yeah. I'm still blown away by that. But no, on the MPO side, it's kind of funny because you got a couple guys from Minnesota and Wisconsin doing pretty well at the event. Adam in 9th place, didn't have a stellar last round, but Kayla Abiska from Minnesota getting 2nd place at this event, traveling all the way out there for it. Drew Gibson in 3rd, Nick Newton 4th, and then Jordan Castro 5th. So that's kind of rounding out your top 5. But then a big shout out to Jacob Curtis, who's also known as Cupcake. If you see him in the chat, he's Cupcake Discs. But he threw up a 1090 rated final round. Not sure if that's course record at Vista. I don't really know. Kale shot a 1081 final round to try to push it with AB. AB did clutch up at the end, though, to eventually take down the win. But definitely starting, we've already got a 1080 round. We've already got a 1090 round going this year. And Evan, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we have any 1100 rated rounds last year? I don't think we did.
Do I got to bring up that stat or fiction question?
No.
We did that.
I know.
I was gonna say we've done that, right?
Yeah.
So just making sure. I don't want to talk nonsense really quick, but no 1100 rated rounds last year. Is there going to be one this year? We got close to it. We got a 1090 going on, but yeah, I think ultimately we're gonna have some big tournaments this year. I wouldn't be surprised if someone pops off at Vegas for an 1100 or even Memorial. I mean, Memorial is the place to get an 1100 rated round for a lot of pros, and I know a decent amount of them. It's not on the Pro Tour or Silver Series anymore. But a lot of pros do like starting off their year at the Memorial Championships. But I'm just curious. I'm hoping that there's going to be at least one 1100 rated round.
All right.
I'd like to shoot an 1100 rated round.
You could do it, Nick. Cool. We'll talk about it on the show. So we're going to transition a little bit here. Like I said, Chris Dickerson coming on soon. But my question is, what are these events preseason? I'm calling them preseason. Technically, once the season's over, the Disc Golf Pro Tour is going to begin the preseasons like this in the future, like right away. But I guess I just mean historically preseason. So like this and others that lead up to the Memorial. What does that tell us about the players who win it or play it? You don't see like a Paul Macbeth or a Chris Dickerson. You don't see Ricky. You don't see Paige. That's a whole nother conversation. Paige playing events recently. But what does it tell us? Like Hamas won some of those events last year. And we were like, ooh, we're getting pumped up on him. AB, wow, he's going to be awesome. And then like, does it actually tell us anything if the actual competition isn't there? Or is it just to say, well, those players are looking for fun warm up?
I think it's a little bit of a mixture of both. I mean, you still had stellar players at that event. You had Adam at 1041, KL 1035, Drew 1035, Austin 1028, AB 1024, with a lot of notable names above the 1010 mark. So I think it's a good warm-up tournament in the sense of it's good to get out there. It's good to get that competitive edge again. It's good to potentially seal down a win to start the year. I know last year Adam started out with the Shelly Sharp win and then the Maricopa win, and then went on to, win a couple of Elite Series events that year, last year. So I think it all depends on who you are as a player. I mean, Anthony or AB and Adam are both out in Arizona right now, so why not play that event? I mean, if I was out in Arizona, I would be doing the same exact thing. Or even, if I was in Florida, I'd play an event that's going. Florida's already had a number of events going on this year. So it all just depends. Yeah.
But if you won that event, well, I mean, that's a different conversation because you're Nick Carl. But like, if you won that event, what would we base that off of for the rest of the season's conversation? Like, would talk shows like this be like, Nick Carl just won, we can expect a massive year out of him? Like, does it actually mean something to win that event? And that's maybe I'm just digging too hard.
I think to a point, yes. I mean, obviously a lot of these players are playing the Memorial Championships. And so this already gives them a little bit of a practice advantage and a tournament advantage of playing Vista for these 3 rounds. I know you play Fountain 2 rounds, Vista 2 rounds. So it gives them a little bit of an advantage in that sense of things. I don't think we're going to base the whole year like AB's win at this tournament. Am I going to say he's going to win an Elite Series? I don't know. I hope so. I would love it if AB won an Elite Series. But you can't. I mean, this is, like you're saying, this is just an A tier right now. It's not a massive event.
It's easier to stand out when you listed like 5 good names. They're 5 good names. So to make it on the lead card is not that hard. I say that hard. I'm not saying I could do it. I just mean in the realm of pro disc golf. It's not that hard if you're that tier. Cool. So I wanted to start this conversation. I'm going to let Evan react if he wants to. I'm interested in Evan's opinion. I think the rest of the world is too. So there was discussion on different talk shows, podcasts, Disc Golf World. Ricky said so himself in these interviews, like Discraft, and I'll use the word courted him. Like they were, and Paul talked about it in an interview this last week or two. Like Discraft reached out to Paul and was like, hey, we're making an offer to Ricky. Like, I want to make sure, not that you're okay with it, but I just want you to know so it's not a blind side if it happens. My question is this. Not like could Ricky have gone there? Would it have worked? Any of that. But like, where would Discraft stop? If they got Ricky and then they had the opportunity to get Eagle, would they get Eagle? If they had the opportunity to pick any of the, is there a stopping place where they're like, we don't have any more money? Would that have been it with Ricky? Or like, would they just collect all of the top players? Or is there like a marketing brand here where they're like, we're only going to get like the top 2 best and that's it? Like, what do you think? What's their perspective, Evan? Like, any idea?
I see no problem with them trying to get everyone. I think it's kind of an interesting, like kind of economic proposition, if is that the right word? I don't even know.
Sure.
But to think about that, like if they pick up Ricky, they just picked up Chris Dickerson. If they also picked up, let's say Eagle, let's say they pick up Calvin or something. If they keep on picking up like all the top 5 and then go to top 10 players, sure they could afford it now, but like then you're going to have other companies who are going to up their game and pay even more. And then the question is, okay, can now Discraft, they can pay for them now. Can they pay for them when it gets kind of pushed up? And then it kind of is almost like
can we do player caps eventually?
Well, like
salary
it'll
caps?
just be like an endless circle, you know, like, okay, now it's 4 years, million plus for Chris Dickerson. Now let's say if they picked up the rest of the top 5 and, you know, 8 out of 10 of the top 10, then it's like, okay, Chris Dickerson, like he might just get courted to somewhere else for 4 years, 3 or 4 or 5 million. Like, even though he probably doesn't deserve more than Paul or Ricky, someone might just be wanting to pay that just so they have someone in the top 10.
I know. So like, would they stop? I don't know. Nick, you're part of Team Discraft. I mean, does it make sense for them to try to get every player? Like, would they? Or do you think it's like, hey, we've got a chance to get like arguably the number 1 current best player?
Well, I think you have to look, because I know they call it a team. And It does trickle down. So if Paul wins a tournament, it helps out Discraft and it helps out every player that is sponsored by Discraft. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that is wrong at all. But at the same time, like, the manufacturer wants to get that next world champion. MVP got that last year with James Conrad. You know, Discraft wants to court people. Discraft believes that Chris Dickerson is someone who could go out and win the world championships. Because when you win the world championships, and especially if something massive happens at the world championships, look how much media exposure that gives to your company. And then it trickles down into, we made an investment and now we're going to make a crap ton of money because of that investment. So essentially, I think every company, you get the top 5 players in the world every single year, but I don't know logistically how well all that works. I mean, I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to go for every single top player. But at the same time, when you put so much investment in one player, then you got to kind of start, okay, we're putting this investment in you, but you're not getting as much as this other player. So, yeah, I think that's kind of my take on it. I mean, why wouldn't they go for every single player? Because I think eventually it turns into an investment, but we don't see it to where, you know, not one company has every single best player in the world right now. They're kind of spread out at the moment.
Yeah, kind of spread out. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. They got Chris Dickerson. Imagine would they also have gotten Ricky? Like, or did this shake out the way it did because Ricky said no? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious because I had heard in previous seasons they tried to get Eagle. And maybe that's speculation too. But like, everyone's trying to get everybody. I liked your take, Evan, on it. But without further ado, we're not going to keep him in the dark or in the green room or virtual world all alone by himself. He can join the show. Let's bring him in. We're going to swap out here, Evan, for just a minute. But Evan, you can chime in anytime you want. We'll pull you right back up. Welcome to the show, Chris Dickerson. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, welcome to the Nick and Matt show. We've had you on before. I think we even did a 2 truths or a lie with you. We might have did judge that disc golfer. I can't remember. Yeah, we did. Because
we did.
We asked how far you could throw a disc. Do you remember what you answered or what you would answer today?
Oh, goodness. I would say max distance 600 or just below. Is that accurate or no? Is that what I said or no?
Nick, do you remember what he said?
No, I don't remember. I know he had a very real answer compared to other people. Like, I think I think he said golf distance was like 475 to 500, but then max distance was 575 to 600 maybe. But I remember him saying like a very real answer compared to a lot of other people who throw out, oh yeah, I throw 550 feet, no problem. And I'm like, gotcha. So you throw further than a majority of the top pros. Decent.
Yeah. He said golf distance. I believe you did say 450, but you clarified and you said like accurately. And 450 accurately is elite. Nobody question that. That is elite. All right.
Yes.
Yes, I like
That
it.
that sounds a lot more like what I said.
Yeah. No, I agree.
We learned a lot about you. Go back and check that episode out, everybody. It's a long time ago. Two Truths and a Lie was fun. Like, Chris, you were good at other sports. Soccer, right? Soccer was the other one?
Mm-hmm. Soccer and football.
That's right. Soccer and football. And your real name is not Chris Dickerson. It was something else. No, that was the lie. I don't remember what the name was, but that was funny. Okay. So congratulations, man. I feel like it's a weird world we live in where sports specifically, but now disc golf, like we're starting to hear dollars and numbers, how much somebody's worth. Does that feel weird to you at all to have people talking about that?
Yeah, it's a little different because, we're not used to that in disc golf yet, and we're just kind of breaking into that. So yeah, contracts are getting bigger. I think it's going to be talked about more. So yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, but does it feel weird? They're like, oh, those people over there are talking about how much money I make.
Yeah, a little bit. I could definitely see it being weird in certain situations. Yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations. Nice. It's definitely a pretty cool thing. And I feel like you're such an awesome guy, like as far as perception, personality, like you like to see these things happen for people like that. So congratulations, man. You put in a lot of hard work on it. So you go to Discraft. What are you most excited about? I'm sure you've been asked that question a few times, but like what most excites you right now? Like in this moment even?
I'm really excited to get back out and to be playing tournaments again. Getting new discs, that just puts out a new shoot. It's a challenge. It's a new challenge to learn new discs and to get to compete with these new discs. So I look forward to this challenge, and I'm really excited to be getting back out on the course and competing with the best.
Have you found because I'm sure everyone wants to know what your go-to discs are. I know in the video with Discraft, you said stuff like the Undertaker, the Zone, the Forest, very, very well-known discs with Discraft, but have you figured out what your putter of choice is, what your, upshot disc is, kind of stuff like that? I think main thing a lot of people want to know is like, what is your putter going to be?
So the putter is going to be the Challenger OS. I like a little bit of stability for my putter. And it feels pretty comfortable in the hand too. As far as like a disc that I didn't talk about in the Discraft video. So obviously the Forest, the Buzz, the Undertaker, the Zone.
Is this exclusive? Is this exclusive?
It could be.
Hold on.
I think.
Oh, give it a second.
And now, for a Nick and Matt Show exclusive.
All right, Chris. I'm just messing around, but what do you got? That sounds pretty cool.
That's
I couldn't
okay.
wait.
So one disc that I have found that I'm really looking forward to, and it's not a very popular disc, at least I don't see it as a very popular disc, is the ESP Challenger OS.
Okay. I don't even think I've ever thrown an ESP Challenger OS.
That's my point.
There you go.
I've thrown the
Not
Challenger.
gonna lie, I didn't even know they made a Challenger OS in the ESP plastic. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Challenger generally. Like I like it, but yeah, I don't think I've thrown that. So what excites you about that disc? So
it's reliably overstable, but it's not as overstable as say the Zone. So it's a glidey, workable throwing putter. And when I think they only made them for one run. I think it was the 30th Memorial. So I think there was only one batch of them.
Okay.
Gotcha. So you're just messaging people on Instagram like, yo, if you got any of these, send them on over. Maybe Big Germ had some from way back in the day. Who knows? But
Yep, that's it.
nice, nice. Have you messed around with Paul's line of discs, like the Onyxes, the Zeus, the Hades, anything like that? Have you been toying around with anything?
Yeah, I like the Zeus for sidearms and for um, longer turnover shots. I think I haven't gotten very many of those. I know a couple of them that I have are more on the under or overstable side, but the one that I'm sidearming is kind of a hyzer flip, so it's a little bit straighter to maybe slightly understable. I haven't thrown the Malta. I just picked one up at our local disc golf store. I'm gonna give it a try, see how that is. The Luna is good. I'm throwing it in the base plastic, the Paul's, I think, blend plastic, and I'm trying it in the Big Z and the Z. I think it's not going to be in the bag all the time, but I think it'll come out in and out throughout the season for like turnover shots as needed.
Definitely. Is there a specific event now with the whole change of bag and everything that you're looking forward to most getting out there? I know Discraft is a huge sponsor on a lot of big events. Like, do you have any events this year besides Worlds, besides USCGC, that you're just really looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to the what is it called? The Players Championship, or the is that what it's called?
The Champions Cup? I always
Champions
get the name
Cup.
wrong.
Nick
Yeah, I think
always
it's
gets it
Champions
wrong.
Cup. Heinold had to correct me on it when we had him on a few months ago, but I think the Champions Cup.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's at WR Jackson at the IDGC. So that's my favorite course that I've played so far, and I'm really looking forward to getting back out there and playing it.
Yes,
Oh, absolutely.
it
I
is the
love that course.
Champions
It's
Cup.
awesome.
It is the Champions Cup, just to clarify for everybody. So throwing Discraft, I have a few Discraft discs in my bag, not many, but one of them is, and everybody would know if they've played with me more than once or once. I throw an ESP Comet, a limited edition. So back when they were limited, ESP Comets. I love them. Have you had a chance to throw a Comet yet?
I have thrown the Comet a little bit, and I think I had a limited edition titanium one that I was throwing.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I'm still too new. I don't know if it was limited edition or not, but
Cool.
it was good for like hyzer flip to turnover shots. It just seemed like the harder that I threw it, the more flexible the rim felt. So I think I'm leaning a little bit more toward the Buzz SS.
Yeah, and Paul didn't like the Comet either when I watched him go to Discraft. Like, it's a unique disc. It suits my style. It's like a slow flyer. It's like, it's interesting, but I just was curious. So I heard, because I got our buddies over at Smashbox. I listened to a lot of that. I was traveling and was able to hear a lot of that conversation. So things like, you're going to be traveling in a nice RV. You're still not flying, most likely, I would imagine, but are you hitting up more events than you would have in previous years this year?
Yes, we're going to be starting out at the All-Star event in Arizona, and then working our way out to the Vegas tournament, back to Waco. So yeah, after that, it's pretty much all the tournaments that I have been playing. Maybe a couple more thrown in there, but yeah, we're starting out with the somewhat Western swing.
Okay. Do you feel like going from previous seasons to this season specifically, that there is besides the fact that you're playing with different plastic, mentally and or physically, do you feel like your performance is going to be greater? How do you feel, I guess, is my question, coming into this season?
I don't know. I think it depends on the player. I feel like going into this season, I'm looking forward to it a little bit more because, like I said, there's the challenge of learning the new plastics and stuff like that. So I'm a little excited. So whenever, you're looking forward to something, I really hope it turns out as good as I expect it to be. So yeah, I'm excited to start playing tournaments again and to try out these new discs. So, I mean, I guess only time will tell.
Only time will
No,
tell.
yeah. What's an off season look like for you? I know this year has been an incredibly busy off season. Big change of sponsorships. I know recently you've been building a house. If it's all complete yet, what's an off season for you generally look like? Are you practicing much? What's going on in your world?
Yeah. So usually I'm practicing every single day, weather permitting. So, for example, this year, yeah, I had to take some time out to go up to Michigan and get filming and stuff like that done. And then I come home a couple weeks later. It looks like Michigan outside. Um, yeah, it snowed yesterday. It snowed today. It's tomorrow. I think it's going to warm up just enough to maybe. No, I lied. Tomorrow's supposed to be cold too. Then the next day it might warm up to maybe melt some of it away, and then it's going to snow again. So here recently, my practice is kind of cut down, but I've still been doing some putting and stuff like that. But any other day, as long as it's not raining or snowing, I should be out there practicing. It doesn't really matter how cold it is or what. I think I practiced the other day and it was around 20 degrees. So not terribly cold, but cold enough for most people to say, "Nah, I'm going to skip today."
Speaking of which, this is not an interview about me, but this Saturday I played in like what felt like minus 20 degrees for a team event. Yeah, it was cold. Discs were breaking upon hitting trees. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Cold dad joke. There we go.
Good Lord.
It never stops. I'm sorry. All right.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're talking about just like, off season stuff. I just attended one of the Brawl Series events here in Virginia. Are you planning on coming up for any of those?
No, I don't think so. I usually love to come up and play those, but yeah, this off season has just been kind of busy, so I don't think I'll really have time before we start to head out.
Okay.
When I showed up to Vincent's course at Timber Ridge, he was like, "Oh, I wonder if any of the big names. I think you might have played there before. Zach Melton's come out and played there before." And so we're, I'm watching cars pull up, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't see the Discraft RV yet. I don't see it yet." But all right, cool. Now I have more of a chance. All right, thank you.
All right. So I'm trying to think how to word this, but in the evolution, if you will, of Chris Dickerson's disc golf game, from the time you've been playing years ago to the recent past 5 years, and kind of just like how you've developed as a player, I don't remember talking about you 10 years ago. Like, that's just me. I'm sure you were playing 10 years ago, but like you weren't making headlines in that way. You are now. Where do you feel like you are at in the evolution of your game? Like, so the past 5 years, 10 years, what does the next 5 or 10 years look like for you? Like, do you have a vision of that, or are you just kind of flying by the seat of your pants?
I think I'm still just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I will say 10 years ago, I was just getting into disc golf.
Wow.
I think around 2011 was whenever I first picked up a disc. So, yeah, there's a, I was going to say there's a good chance you didn't hear me then. Yeah, so it took me, I want to say about 3 years to 4 years before I started playing open tournaments and stuff like that. So I think the point where I'm at now, I'm still learning. And I feel like I'm still continuing to get better. I see improvements in different places throughout the years. And, hopefully I've got a high enough ceiling that I'll continue to get better for a while instead of, just plateauing and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Let me do this real quick. Evan in studio here. Statmando Evan, if you've met Statmando before. Here's Evan. Evan, you got a question for Chris?
Yeah, well, I got some cool stats that I'm just going to lay out here, and that'll kind of lead into my question.
Okay.
One, I mean, everyone knows Chris is kind of a road warrior in the B and C tiers, still playing local events. It's been almost your 2-year anniversary since your last B or C tier loss. Coming up, I believe it's January 25th. of 2020. It's been 20 straight events since then. Actually, I did since 2017. You have played 98 B and C tier events. You have won 79 of them and have finished podium in 94 of those 98. So that's some awesome numbers right there. Very cool. Are you still planning on hitting a lot of B and C tiers this year? Is the change with Discraft going to change your thoughts on the other events you play?
I think whenever I'm at home, I don't like taking time off. So if there's a tournament going on, it doesn't really matter what the tier of it is. I'm probably going to play it. For example, the Knoxville Ice Bowl is a C tier, and it's getting ready to come up in about a week or two. I'm definitely going to play that.
Okay.
Just because, it's going to be my first tournament with a new bag. And, I would rather, walk into the pool instead of jumping in on the deep end. If that makes sense.
It makes sense, but my style with almost everything is dive in without checking the depth. So that's bad. I should learn something from you, Chris. We're going to actually get here in just a minute. I'm going to open up the phone lines, and doesn't mean someone's going to call, but the lines will be open for that. So let's go ahead and jump into that here. And we will take calls for Chris in his upcoming season. So let's get right into this. All right, everybody. The phone lines are open for Chris. Chris doesn't have to answer anything. I'm just going to throw that out there. We'll just drop you. The other thing is, when you call in, please just give us your question, and then we'll drop you out, or you can drop off yourself there and we'll answer it. Please turn off your streaming YouTube in the background. We don't need to hear ourselves talking through the phone either. All right, Nick. Oh, well, here's our first call. Just like that, everybody. Let's let him in. All right, welcome to the Nick and Matt Show. You got a question for Chris?
Yes, this is Daniel in Texas. Hello to the chat room. Chris, what is the number one aspect of your game you're looking to improve the most this year?
All right, short and sweet.
Yeah, number one aspect for me, I think, is putting. I know a lot of people say, you're a good enough putter, but I think with putting, anybody can continue to improve. It doesn't matter how good you are. You can always get better at that. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, awesome. We have our next caller lined up. Let's let him into the room here. Welcome. You're on the Nick and Matt Show. What's your question for Chris?
What's up, Nick and Matt? This is Josh with Daddy Disc Golf. Just wanted to call and say what's up to Nick. Say what's up to C Dick. Congratulate him on the new sponsorship. My question for him is, if he has to pick any Tour Series disc, either taken by another player or not, what Tour Series disc would he want from Discraft for this season? Thank you, guys. Have a great show.
Awesome. Thank you.
Ooh, good question. I'd have to go with the Buzz. We did the first release. Those seem like they went pretty good. So why not continue with that?
Hey.
Exactly. Now, actually, I have a quick question to go on top of that really quick. The plastic that they came out with for that limited run of buzzes they did for you, is that going to be the 2022 Tour Series plastic? Do you have any idea?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
They looked awesome. They sold out, I feel like, within minutes. I remember seeing it late, trying to get on, and they were all sold out. So I was like, oh, well, hopefully Paul gets some so I can, just try to steal one real quick.
All right, we've lined up our next caller here. Let's let him in. Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show. What's your question for Chris?
Thank you. Chris, we all know that you love the Buzz. I was wondering, what are some unique shots that you see yourself throwing this year with your new Buzzes?
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the call.
Unique shots with the Buzz. Obviously, the Buzz is a disc you can work on hyzer and straight. I think the best shot the Buzz is going to help me out with is the straight shots. Hyzer flip to straight, not really moving right to left. So those perfectly straight shots that are the hardest shot in disc golf, in my opinion.
Which, whether or not you think Maple Hill is tough, Maple Hill is a lot of straight shots as well. So.
Yep.
Hey, by the way, I snagged up a few of the Chris Dickerson buzzes, and we actually had a question lined up here. I want to see if I can pull it up real quick. Oh, we got another caller, so let's let them in. I don't need to talk here. Welcome to the Nick and Matt show. You got a question for Chris? Hello. Welcome to the Nick and Matt
Chris,
show.
Stratton here in Iowa. Hey, just want to know real quick, tell us about your RV and how is it set up? Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the RV, I think it's around 31 feet. It is a Class A. I think it has a master bedroom in the back, a couple of bunk beds that we're probably going to be using for storage, and the rest is just kind of like open area.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it's like, are you going to do the version of Cribs except for an RV? You can do the tour, show all the nice features.
You never know.
Okay. Here's a question for you that came in earlier. Let me go ahead and play this. This is pre-recorded. Let's go ahead and hear from Chris.
Hey, Chris, this is Jay calling from Columbus, Ohio. My question that I wanted to ask is if you have seen the collectors page on Facebook for your discs yet, and what your thoughts are on all of a sudden there being such a hot market for Discraft Dickerson discs. Thank you.
What do you think?
Yeah, so I've definitely seen that page. I'm a part of that page. I'm in there floating around, giving a few likes here and there, maybe some comments. But yeah, that's crazy. I think within a few days, I could be wrong in that. It might have been closer to a week, but there was 10,000 members. Or no, I'm sorry, not 10,000. There was 1,000.
It'll get to 10,000. Give it time.
Yeah, hopefully. But no, yeah, there was like 1,000 in a short amount of time. So it's just great to see the support and all that stuff.
All right, cool. And then we had one text message question come in earlier, and it says this: "What up, Chris? My name is Derek from California. My question is, do you feel like joining Team Discraft adds pressure, or does it take pressure off of you to perform well this season? Do you feel one way or the other with that?"
No, I don't really feel one way or the other. Because whenever it comes down to it, even though we are part of a team under a company, it's an individual sport. So yeah, I don't think it adds any pressure or takes any away.
Awesome. That's a whole conversation that we can have when you're not here, is just like the team mentality. I mean, we could have it with you too, but we don't want to waste everybody's time. You're a, never mind. Let's move on. You want to stick around and play stat or fiction with us? Have you seen or heard about this game yet?
I have not, but I'd love to. But can you all still see me? My screen went to some kind of different window.
I can see you at least.
Don't tell him we can still see him. We'll just leave him on the rest of the show. Yes, we can see you. So if you're okay on your side or you mess around with things, that's fine. But we can see and hear you.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so what we're going to do, stat or fiction, it's a short game, but it's exactly what it is. Stat Mando is going to provide us with a statement and ask us if it's a stat or is it fiction. And I don't know what he's brought tonight, but let's go ahead and get into the intro of stat or fiction. Here we go.
Okay.
Stat or fiction, presented by Stat Mando.
All right, presented by Stat Mando. Evan, you're up, man. What do you got?
All right. So we covered the Shelly Sharp Memorial to start the show a little bit, but we're jumping right back in it for stat or fiction. And as we said, Anthony Barella took it down on the MPO side. And the first stat or fiction statement is, this is his first A tier or better win since 2019 at the 2019 Shelly Sharp Memorial. So pretty much he has not won an A tier or better since then, because I did say earlier that he won it in 2019. So
since then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we usually don't make the guests go first. So Nick, you're up.
I'm going to say it's a stat. He has not won anything until now, since 2019.
Okay. Not until now. I don't recall, but A tier is not that big. Like, it's not necessarily going to make big news. but Nick, you know him fairly well. I should roll with you, but okay, I'm going to roll with you for this one because I don't want to get you out and ahead here. What do you think, Chris?
I think it is also a stat.
All right. All three of us lined up stat. Evan, what is it?
Is that 3 stats?
Yes.
Wow.
So is Evan about to get a point?
I am about to get a point. This is fiction. You guys are sleeping on my man AB. He won the 2020 challenge at Goat Hill, which was a silver series. It was an A tier as well.
Right.
He won it by
Oh, and he
1
murdered it,
stroke
too.
over Thomas Gilbert.
Dang it.
But
Like an insane
I
amount of
remember
birdies
that.
in a row.
that was his only A tier or better win since then. Not to discredit it, of course, but he does have one.
Man, like I don't need to talk more than I do. I was going one way and I was like, I can't let Nick run away. Oh, dang. All right. Give us the next one. That was fun. Here we go.
All right. So mentioned earlier too, Jennifer Allen took it down on the FPO side, the Shelly Sharp Memorial, that is. Owen Scoggin, as we said, lost by 18 strokes to Jennifer Allen. She finished in 3rd place. The stat or fiction statement number 2 is Owen Scoggins never lost an event by 18 or more strokes in all of 2021.
And to be clear, as a clarifier, because I'm going to be first here, when you say lose, you mean 2nd place, or it doesn't matter?
Second
Just
place or worse. Like
it doesn't matter. It's just separated by 18 strokes from the winner.
Yes.
Since what was the date?
All of 2021.
So all of last year. Yes, stat out of me stat. Chris, what do you think?
Okay, so just so I'm right on the question, you said that she did not get beat by 18.
Yeah. So if you say stat, you agree that she never lost by 18 or more. If you say fiction, you think she did lose by 18 or more.
Okay, I'm going to say stat. That did not happen.
Okay. Nick, you're up.
Oh, now it's tough because another point, or if you guys both get points and I don't.
That's the
but
game
I'm
I
gonna
played
have
with
to
you,
go,
and then I was wrong.
I know. I'm gonna have to go stat as well.
Safe play.
I feel like it is.
All right,
All right.
Evan, what do we got?
This is
All or
supposed to be
nothing.
exciting, guys, but it still is exciting because this is a fiction.
No.
I get you guys again. She actually lost by 18 strokes or more 5 times last year.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, Paige Pierce 4 of the times. Paige Pierce OTB Open by 18, Las Vegas Challenge by 19, Portland Open by 21, U.S. Women's by 27, and then she also lost to Haley King at the DDO by 28 strokes.
Dang it.
Again, not to discredit Owen. I mean, those are just fantastic performances by those Paige Pierce and Haley.
It makes sense in hindsight. Like hearing everything you're saying, it's like, yes, but for some reason, my head played it, and I even asked for the clarifier, like, if she was like 2nd place to 1st, like it wasn't more than 18 strokes. But like that's kind of how my brain played it out. But like I even asked the clarifier.
That's a good point. Yeah,
so that is not
like
on
a
you.
blow-up tournament or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Okay. So at this point, this has never happened, Chris, where 0-0, he's winning. Here we go. Question 3.
All right. So I'll give you guys a chance here and just scrap this Shelly Sharp Memorial. We're going totally different subject. This is gonna be like this is out of left field.
Okay.
The current upside down disc world record holder, as recognized by the World Flying Disc Federation, was set with a meta tilt.
First of all, I didn't know this was a thing.
So yeah, I'll give some clarification as you guys think. The upside down distance world record means that the entire flight, the disc is upside down. So from the release point to the landing, I believe it can be thrown like a normal backhand shot and stay upside down, or it can be like a thumber that stays upside down.
Have you ever seen the Epic thrown? Like that flies right side up, but it comes out weird. But anyways, okay, so upside down the whole time, and I hate to do this to our guest, but you're up, Chris. You're up.
Okay. Judging by the way that I've seen people throw the tilt, I'm going to say that is a stat. I think it does hold the record.
See, he can't go 3 stats in a row or
Nick,
3 fictions in a row,
you're
right?
up.
So if I say fiction, then you know. But at the same time, if it's a stat, then we just tie, and ties are no fun. So,
But what if he does?
Fiction.
All right, Nick went with fiction. Dang it. I was hoping Nick would go stat and I could go fiction and just be like, but then I don't know. Strategies are horrible here. I feel like I'm just talking this out. I've also watched Simon throw it upside down, like filmed him doing it. We tested it with rangefinders. I feel like it was in that like, and this is pretty far, but like that 350-ish range. But if somebody really cranked it, like trying, are there discs that go further? Like throwing an upside down ultimate disc or any, like, is there any way? Dang it. I'm going to go with Chris on this one. I'm going stat. Here we go, Evan.
All right. This is a stat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was set in September of 2021. His name's Set Day. Recently, Statmando actually launched our Statmando community. He was one of the guys that reached out and interested in doing stats with us. So we were kind of doing intros, and this is what he shared about himself. And so I learned more. He threw it 176.6 meters. That's 579.6 feet with a Discmania meta tilt, breaking the record, which was about 480 feet before. It was 147.2 meters. And
Wow.
it, like I said, it has to stay upside down the entire time. I believe he said an Epic at one point held the record, but then they like apparently the footage showed it didn't stay upside down the entire time. But he might have beat that anyways, or I don't know exactly. But yeah, it's wild with the meta tilt. You wouldn't think that has a record for flying the farthest. Simon and Eagle and have always thrown it upside down, and that's known, but still kind of a crazy coincidence.
It's a disc where if you try to throw it hard, the right side up, it doesn't go far. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
So.
And just to add to this, he said when the wind that day was only about 6 to 10 miles an hour. It's not like, you know, the old desert. Well, I shouldn't say old. It still happens. The desert ones with like hurricane winds. And he says he can throw a disc up to 82 miles an hour in like I think a thumber, which is wild.
All right.
That's
there. If there's video footage, someone send the link.
I have the link. I can share it with you.
Evan has the link. We can share it later.
I come prepared.
All right. So here's how it works, Chris. We are now tied. Usually Statmando has a tiebreaker, and they'll specify how that works. But let's see what you got, Evan.
All right. Yeah. Tiebreaker is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's not a number based one. So if you guys both get it wrong, we'll have to figure out, and maybe we keep on going. I think we can get it. So, so Set Day set the record. He played a sport in college. What sport did he play?
The guy who threw upside down 579 feet or whatever that was.
Yes.
What sport did he play in college? So we're both gonna guess, and then you'll say if one of us is right.
Yep.
Okay. Chris, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay. And can we guess the same thing, Evan?
Then it would tie again, and then I could find something else out, I guess.
Go ahead, Chris.
That's why I wanted to go first.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you said he threw 82 miles an hour with the disc. I'm going to say that was an overhand, and that was baseball.
Because that's really good guess, I'm going to go tennis.
You guys think I would have a tiebreaker that was that obvious? No, it wasn't baseball, and it wasn't tennis. So we'll keep on going real quick.
Here we go. Chris, you're up, man.
Okay. What state was he from? Can I ask that?
Yeah, Utah.
Utah.
Okay, that doesn't help very much.
It was cricket, wasn't it? It was cricket.
Okay, I'm going to say football.
Is it a major sport?
Yeah.
Oh, well, now he just gave me an answer, but at least it wasn't unfair.
Football, so is tennis.
I was going to say, at least it wasn't unfair. Basketball.
No. Someone in the chat's guessed it, and they're guessing crazy things right now, so it's not one of those. I
can't look at the chat, Chris. I'm putting my hand up.
Yeah. It's a sport people know. I can give more hints if we want.
We'll guess a few more. Well, Chris,
let's rattle them off. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. First person to say it.
Soccer.
Well, that was easy. We're done. Yeah, it was soccer.
There you go.
So
Hey, technically, when he said football, he could have been correct.
I thought about that. I decided not to ruin it at that moment. I wanted to go on, but
all right. So there's the points. Chris had 2 points. He wins the game. I had 1. Nick with the 0, the goose egg, which is not usual.
Yeah. What's funny is Chris was all psyched up about winning Stat or Fiction. I think he was more psyched about that than I've seen him when he makes like a 400-foot ace or a 200-foot throw in. So clearly, Stat or Fiction is more intense than disc golf, I guess now.
It's interesting.
It can be.
It can be. I think this is true about most disc golfers that are in the competitive scene. Would you describe yourself as a very competitive person?
Yes.
Short and sweet. I'm more competitive than you, Chris. Do you believe that?
No.
See, even when it comes to that, no, you're not.
Right.
So, and that's true. Like board games, you like board games, like trying to win them and all that. Yeah. Okay.
If it's any kind of competition, I'm trying to win.
There you go.
To rag on Nick for a second, that was the first time Nick ever went over in Stat or Fiction. I looked it up real quick. Like you guys said it before. I have stats on Stat or Fiction, of course.
Wow.
But I already forgot. I think you had 4 total 3-point episodes, so that's pretty good. Actually, last episode you got all 3. So
yeah, I was gonna say I did pretty well. The last one that we did. But
you have been. I've been. This is funny. I love how Evan just pulls that little nugget.
Yeah, I actually didn't even track wins. I should have done that. I just did whether you got the question right or not, and I wasn't doing tiebreakers. But I'll have to do more research. I guess.
More research. Good.
Sounds good.
Good times. Hope you enjoyed your time on the Nick and Matt show. We want you to come back, but we totally appreciate your time. We're looking forward to what you do out there. Nick has something else.
One final question. I'm sure everyone wants to know it. What is the tournament that you want to win this year, or what is your main goal going out in 2022?
I mean, obviously, I would like to win tournaments like Worlds or USDGC, but if I had to pick one other than those two, it would be the Players Championship. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Nope. The Champions Cup.
Wait, what is it?
The Players Cup was an old major. This is the Champions Cup.
The Champions Cup.
What happened in Georgia?
The Champions Cup. That's it. That's my answer.
That's the one that's up on the poster in his room. No, he doesn't know. But nobody does. Nick, to be clear, Nick said this. He messed that up talking to Heinold in an interview.
Yeah, I messed it up in front of Heinold, and he had to, quote me on it. So
I'm sure I'll be quoted.
Well,
we'll clickbait it. Chris doesn't even know what tournaments he wants to win.
Okay.
With it.
So from the first time I met you in person saying, hey, can I interview you on Maple Hill, hole 18 green? I said, can you tell me some lies about yourself? You didn't know me. You gave it all you got, and we loved it. We appreciated you then. We still do. We wish the best for you out there. Anything you want to say that we didn't cover before you go?
Nope, I think we pretty much covered it all.
Alden Harris wants to know where Brittany's at. He's asked a few times. I've been waiting to say it.
So Brittany is watching the show from the couch. I actually just got done playing video games with Alden, so that's why he's hanging around in the chat.
Nice.
What games you guys playing?
What's your video game of choice, and then I'm done, because I was just playing Halo before I got onto this. So
recently it's been Call of Duty.
Nice. The new is it Vanguard? Is that the new one?
Nope, just Warzone.
Just Warzone. Nice.
Man,
it's good times.
All right,
fun stuff.
Totally cool, man. Look forward to seeing what you do out there again. Congratulations on the big deal and the move in your career. And without further ado, we'll let you go and get back to your gaming or hanging out with your wife or whatever you're doing now. Enjoy, relax, get ready for the season the way you do, and we'll see you out there, man.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you all for having me.
All right, man. Peace. Have a good evening. All right.
You too. See ya.
Peace out.
See ya.
All right, everybody.
I do want to say really quick before we, kind of get off this conversation, but underneath Chris Dickerson's name that we had up, it said Is that what it was, Matt? Is that his Instagram handle?
It totally just censored you out, which is going to be really funny for people to watch back because as soon as you said it, it was and it just, your mouth moved, but no audio.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It knows I'm saying a bad word, apparently.
Maybe,
but,
that's weird.
No, I thought that was kind of a cool feature. If that's his Instagram handle, now people know where to follow him.
Yes, we do have that put up for every guest if they have social media. If they don't, I don't know what we'll put there. Maybe a nickname. By the way, that leads me to the question. With a name like Nick or Nicholas, and people call you Nick, is that your nickname?
Technically, yeah. My birth certificate is Nicholas. And so personally, like my family will call me, like my mom calls me Nicholas usually, especially if she's talking about me. And then close family members of mine, Nikki. But that is not something that the casual person just comes up and says, yo, Nikki, yo, Nikki, what's up? And so anyways, for the most part, it's Nick. Well, in disco, it's funny because actually a lot of people called me Carl. Yep. You know, it was like, yo, what's up, Carl? Like, how you doing, Carl? Because it's my last name. And then with close friends of mine, especially Hannah Macbeth, she started pretty much, especially in the disc golf world, the whole Nick Carl. And so that's why, you know, Nick Carl in the disc golf world is generally how I get called. It's, you know, I'll see someone like when I was out in Utah last year, someone was like, yo, love the show, Nick Carl. And it's just funny because now I never have to look. When someone says Nick, I don't have to think there's other people nearby because it's always Nick Carl, which is nice. I'm sorry I bring the horrible jokes, but some of our older fans or dad fans are like, yeah, Matt with the dad jokes. Okay. So I just had to ask that because I was thinking the other day and I was not high. I was not intoxicated. I was like, Nick, what's his nickname? And then I'm like, Nick is his name. Is that his nickname? Anyways, that's it. I'm hanging that one up. What's funny is I'm pretty sure we were having this conversation. They're having a kid. No, excuse me. It was my cousins. They had a kid last year and they wanted to give him a name where he could have cool nicknames. And so they named him Theodore. And so his nicknames are Theo and Teddy, which are, you know, two great nicknames. And so then we kind of got on the ball, you know, like that conversation, talking about it and everything. And I was like, well, you know, mine's just Nick. You know, that's my nickname is Nick. So I don't know. For two, okay. That was cool. Yeah. I'm done with that joke, but I do have to read a few of the chats coming in before we get into our next topic. One from Alden Harris. For anyone interested, Chris is not good at Call of Duty. So that was his last little jab when Chris wasn't even here to defend himself. I hope they have the show still on. And Chris, you can give him a punch in the shoulder or something. And then Hannah Macbeth. Hello, yes, you need me? ? She arrives as soon as Nick says the name. And then down further, she says, his nickname. Your name is literally Nick Carl. Don't try to be Nick. That's like Dunkin' Donuts rebranding as Dunkin'. See, my nickname for Dunkin' Donuts is Dunkin's with an S. It's Dunkin's. And when people say, oh, yo, you want to go to Dunkin' later? I'm like, and then, I don't know. Your nickname is officially Dunkin's Carl. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Nick Carl is fine. We sidetracked ourselves. We do need to thank those who are supporting the Nick and Matt show. And we're going to do that in this fashion by taking this cologne from Manscaped right here and just spraying it around the room, a few spritzes. And Nick, whew, and we're going to let our producer intern, Ben, smell it. And I'm smelling it. It is wonderful. It smells like the most manly place ever. You come down here and you just grow hair. Even Ben and Nick, well, Nick, you're too far away. You spray some on. Well, what's funny is I put it on earlier when I got back from the gym. Why does it keep censoring him out? Manscaped. Okay. I don't know. Clearly I'm saying bad words. I did use it earlier though. I love it. So thank you to Manscaped for that. Yes. And then these awesome metallic bottles, Manscaped. This is the body wash. It is actually really great. Like all of their products, including the lawnmower, the weed trimmer or weed whacker. I say trimmer. We can trim those weeds, but we can whack them too. And their products are fantastic. I used it today. Can't tell. I know it's growing in real nice here, but Nick used it like a week ago and it's still not there. That's how good it is. Yeah, exactly. I had a family thing in Massachusetts where I did need to shave. And so before I left for Massachusetts, I used the lawnmower. And then when I got back to Massachusetts, I used a razor to finish it up. But it's perfect for trimming everything down. It doesn't give you like a perfectly clean shave, but they also give you 2 or 3 different types of heads you can use. So you can bring it to whatever length you want. So I could probably, if I put on one of the right guards, I could probably shave my head with it. But
Nick,
I don't know. We're thinking about that for.
We're gonna wrap up this ad read for Manscaped, which was awesome. Go out, use Nick and Matt, and you get 20% off. Do this because this is right up there with one of our last times, if not our last time. Right now, reading this out, show them that our fans support them. They support us. Thank you very much, Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide join in on that. The reason I'm laughing is because of all the nicknames coming in now. Literal nicknames. I'm going to read a few. Let me see here. Nick Donuts, Nick Scape,
McDonald's,
Donkey Donuts,
McDonald's.
Nick Donald's. Yes.
I like Nicky D's,
Nick Bucks,
Nick Filet.
Nick Filet.
I say Nicky C's. I like that.
Nicky, he has the meats. So
I'm getting roasted on my own show. Yeah, Nick, OMG, Nick Filet. That's actually probably my favorite one is Nick Filet. So hydroponics.
Well, yeah, you could just use it with the whole McDonald's menu too, like a Nick Chicken, Nick Nuggets.
Yeah,
Nick Double.
Okay, there. Wait, I was thinking like Dunkin' Donuts as the Munchkins. It'd be Ninchkins. No.
Nunchkins.
I don't know. All right.
This is where our disc golf podcast has gone to.
McFlurry would be Nick Flurry.
Ooh, yeah.
A Nick Flurry.
Someone said I was waiting for this one. I was waiting for the Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon.
I like the Carlito. That's a fun one.
All right.
I've been called Carlito before.
Someone just said, this is the best disc golf show on the net. We appreciate that, Daniel. We did not pay him to say that.
Nick Carl Jr.
Nick Carl Jr.
I missed that.
Oh, this is so good. Thank you so much to our live listeners right now. You're just like bringing it. We're so happy right now. Manscaped, all of this in the air right now, and I'm just like feeling it.
Obviously, in the future, one day, I want to have kids, and I really, really want to have a son. One, to carry the Carl name to the next generation, but then I also want to name him Nicholas John Carl Jr. So I want to have a Nick Jr. And
what about a Carl?
I'm hoping that will come about one day. But everyone's like, "Oh, it'll just get made fun of because of Nick Jr." I'm like, by the time I have a kid and they're old enough to even get made fun of, no one's going to know what Nick Jr. is except for the adults, and adults make fun of kids all the time. I mean, I make fun of kids, so I don't know. I want to have a junior though. That's my thing.
This is actually my favorite part of the Nick and Matt show is when we get off track. Some of you may hate this. I love it. Let us know.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. Let's get into some more meat of disc golf here. We took a nice little break. I'm still going to laugh for days to come, and I'm sure people are going to come up with some great chats here throughout the show. I'll try to hold my composure. But here we go. This is my first topic. Nobody was prepped on this. I'm interested. Let's go and let's talk about it. Let's see where it leads to. Who is Kona making more money than? Both MPO and FPO. I'll say some names here. Is she making more money than Drew Gibson? No one wants to say.
I don't know.
That's tough because
she's making. We know this. At least 125,000 cash a year guaranteed. Is Drew Gibson making that guaranteed?
Like you're talking guaranteed, like you're not counting bonuses. I think he has a bonus heavy contract.
Okay.
But I think at the end of the season he probably makes more.
Okay. Throw out a name then. That might surprise me that you think she's making more than. Like pick any name.
Matt Orm.
Ooh. Okay, is she making more than Matt Oram?
I'd say yeah.
Okay,
I think so too.
Maybe they gave him $100,000 a year, maybe $80,000 a year. Who knows? I'm not really sure, but I would say he's making more than him.
Okay. Now to be clear, We are not trying to speculate should she or shouldn't she, because I think she should. There's no way to say she should or she shouldn't. She is, so that means she should. Like, you can't, like, that's what value is. That's what contracts are. Like, that's what they agreed to pay. That's what it is. That's not what this conversation is. It's more just like, is she making more than X? That's all it is. So pick another name.
What Hannah just said was kind of perfect. Drew has the potential to make more with the partnership, but Kona has more guaranteed. Potentially that's the case. Do I know what Drew's making guaranteed? I have no idea. But you looked at, when Drew came out with his announcement, I mean, he called it, a lifetime partnership with Infinite, with limitless possibilities in a sense. He could somehow make $1 billion out of it. We have no idea. Guaranteed, I'm not really sure.
Okay. More than, and this is, I'm just kind of picking the top 10 here just for fun speculation, more than Adam Hammis.
I think it's the same thing.
I think it's probably, probably pretty close.
So she's making what we know, cash up front. Good for her. She's making more than a number, guaranteed number, than a lot of these top 10 players, maybe. I say a lot.
Yeah, I think she sells more discs than Hammis. I think that's in more Instagram influence, more just social media presence in general.
And it's an interesting question because Nate Sexton, this is where that question comes in. We don't know how much he makes actually salary either, or guaranteed. But we have a very large understanding that the Sexton Firebirds have definitely made him a millionaire. Like, you have to know that. Mm-hmm. The amount of Firebirds that sell out and the good chance he's making. I don't know the number, but I'm going to say anywhere from $7 to $10 or more per disc, times how many have sold. He's doing really well. But like actual guaranteed cash, I think it's great for Kona. And I just wanted to point out she's making. Okay, so go to FPO. Is she making more than Paige guaranteed?
No.
Okay.
That's speculation.
I know.
Contract.
Haley King, any of these players, Evelina,
more guaranteed than
almost everybody.
Everyone else. Cats will be interesting.
And Kristen Tatar.
And Kristen Tatar's the same. But
Kristen right now.
I think the really tough thing though is we're hearing about a lot of guaranteed money. And on top of these guaranteed monies, I think there's still other like bonuses, not just like, oh, you showed up in lead card, but like disc selling bonuses.
Sure.
But we don't know how that compares to how it used to be. Like salaries could just be, oh, you don't actually get paid anything up front at all, except like tournament entry fees and stuff. But then you get bonuses of Tour Series discs and what else. But then it kind of goes, okay, now we're giving you 50,000 plus these same things. Do you get the same percentage? Do they lower the percentage because they gave you guaranteed? Now that Kona's getting a $125,000 a year, is her percentage less than other pros? Like if we think she's getting more guaranteed money than Matt Oram, is Matt Oram making more money per disc than Kona Panis? It's just a really, really tough, just because we don't know the percentages. That hasn't really been a public thing yet. I have no clue how much a lot of these players make from those kind of bonuses. I have nothing to guess off of, like zero idea what, Matt Oram's contract structure looks like besides guaranteed money. You can probably guess on that based on what we've seen. But when Paul announced the guaranteed money, that kind of got the ball rolling. But I don't think anyone said straight up, hey, I got paid $85,000 this year, or the specific year, from my Tour Series disc. And then from there, we can be like, okay, that's a really popular disc, or that's a middle of the road disc. And then you can kind of guess other ones. But that hasn't been known yet. I think that's something that's kind of heavily NDA territory. So I hope we see it, because I think that's really cool. Infinite does a lot of things like that. You can see, I mean, I personally find it really interesting how much Ricky Wysocki changes the game for an overstable putt and approach. The zone's always up there, but then what Ricky throws is right up there with it as the only other like amazingly popular overstable approach. So he was with the harp. That was, up there with the zone. He jumped over to the pig. Then those numbers flipped. So the pig joined the zone. And now he's going to DD. He's probably going to throw the harp, but he also said he's working on like a harp type disc with a thumb track similar to the pig. Now that disc might be the number 2 that joins the zone, which I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but when we were talking about Ricky going to Discraft earlier, I thought that would have been really, really interesting that I was just saying that the two overstable approach discs are the zone and what Ricky's throwing. If Ricky is throwing the zone, how big is that market for just the zone? Does another disc then kind of fill in and take its place? Does Ricky also have a zone with a thumb track? I know Discraft has the GT stuff, but that's a little different. It would have been really, really interesting, and I would have liked it for that. But Ricky to DD is also very, very cool, and we'll see that change too. But that was my tangent for the show.
It's good. We've invited Evan to speak more and give his tangents. We like them here. I want to do something live on air. I don't know if you're into sweet and spicy things, and Nick, why'd you have to go? I just got to say this here. Take that. Ooh. This is from Double G Craft Jerky. Get the logo up there. Boom. And all the lights. And if you see right above sweet and spicy, it says Nate Sexton. This is a succulent, sweet and spicy jerky. I already gave a pack to Ben over there, our intern producer. Nick, I'll save you a pack and we'll keep it sealed so it'll stay nice and succulent for you. I have tried it. My wife's tried it. And she said, like, I've actually never heard her say this much about jerky. And like, she's like, this is the best jerky I've ever had. She said it again. This is the best jerky. This is the best. She just kept saying it. So thank you to our friends over there at Double G Craft Jerky for sending the Nick and Matt Show a care package. I'm not going to show you the shipping label, but Nick, it was a whole bag. Like,
dang. Okay. Yeah. Why'd I have to go? Jeez.
It came.
Maybe I'll be back in February.
It came about 2 days after you showed up. So
I gotta say,
just my luck.
I used to have beef jerky a lot, like as a kid. Like that's something like my dad would get me. Then didn't have it for a long time until Double G started doing his thing. Had it a few times, and I'm like, oh my god, beef jerky is so good. Why did I like never eat this for years? And then like my Disc Golf 978 has Double G jerky almost all the time. But if I don't get up there, and you're at a gas station, you just pick up whatever they have, and it's like terrible. And you're like, that's why I didn't have beef jerky for so long.
You don't realize it.
Yeah.
That Double G's jerky is that good. He's doing stellar work. I know he said he uses like good cuts of beef or whatever he uses. I'm going to mess that up. But it's good stuff. It's so much better than all other beef jerky.
Wow. That bite I just had was so good. I want to end the show right now and just keep eating jerky.
As I hear.
Okay.
I'm like about to go order some food real quick. And
Okay. So that was a fun conversation about Kona. Here is another one. Not about Kona. Going into 2022, who do you pick to have the better season? This is all speculation, just fun talk. No one's going to hold, well, our fans, listeners might hold us to this, but who do you pick having a better season, Haley or Missy?
Missy.
Based off of what we know and going into the season, who do you pick? You said
so
Missy.
Tough because I think they're both such great players, and they both had a great season last year. Missy ended the season better. So that's what's tough because they're. I mean, I could see Haley winning it every single time, but then I could also see Missy, getting a good amount of wins this year. But new discs for Haley, for Missy. So I want to on Missy for this next upcoming season.
Okay, so Nick's saying Missy. It keeps censoring him every now and then. It must be the FBI. They know he's saying something he shouldn't, but
yeah, right.
It's
I'm
not
leaking information.
It's not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm just making fun of it because it's funny here and there. Have you ever seen unnecessary censorship?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? It's really funny.
No, I don't think so.
They'll just like bleep out people for no reason. It makes it sound like they're saying something really funny. Okay, so he says Missy. We didn't talk quite about it yet, and I'll get Evan's reaction. Haley did announce going to Innova. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but yes, I am. I was like, she's moving down the Carolinas. I'm like, what's the hub down there? It's Innova. Long story short, she announces it. She's with Innova. Is that a good fit for her? What do you think? Anybody? What'd you feel? Nobody?
I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, you're going from one company who has incredible discs to another company who has incredible discs. So it's not like she's going to a company that is still working on creating certain spots in their lineup, certain molds for their lineup. I mean, Innova is revered as the #1 company in disc golf. and they have been for a long time. So her switching over to that, I think it all just comfort. What do you like throwing now? Rocks are different than buzzes. Destroyers are different than Zeus's. Thunderbirds are different than Onyxes. And then Discraft has a zone. I love the zone. I have one in my bag. Absolutely love it. I've thrown a pig a couple times just to see what it's like. It's not my cup of tea. I think it feels a little weird in my hand. So I guess her figuring out that upshot disc, but maybe the pig is similar to a breaker. I have no idea. I'm not really a big breaker person, which I know Haley did love the breaker. So just her figuring out the discs. But I don't think it's a terrible fit for her. No, not at all.
So you think that you still think Missy's going to do better? I think there's a strong argument to say that this is hard. I feel like, and I'm just going to get myself in trouble here, Haley's potential, like, just kind, I don't want to say natural, but like is way higher, I feel like, than Missy's. And that's no diss to Missy because she proved so much last year that I wasn't expecting. That it kind of shows you, okay, if she can keep that trend, like she's going to be like one of the best. But Haley kind of out of the gate was like able to do some really high ceiling stuff. Didn't always close out, but she would do really high ceiling stuff where you're like, dang, like if she could pull 3 rounds of that, like she's beating Paige Pierce, like regular. So the hard part for me is a shift from a company to like Innova. I almost don't care what company it is. Is a shift like that going to motivate her mentally? Because I know mental is a big part of Haley's game right now. And she talks about that as well, like her life, what's going on, or things that are happening in her head on the course. Finishing strong. If a shift from a sponsor like Discraft to Innova changes things for her, like somehow it's like the boost that she needed, watch out. I think it'd be hard to say that she's not. It's hard to say with her switching, but I think you could expect to see that. So that's where I'm at with it. Any reaction? Who do you think will have a better one, Evan?
I think Haley will have the better season. I mean, you guys have been hitting on the head. I think Haley had the better 2021 season from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And then Missy obviously just had the phenomenal end. I was going to talk about, Statmando. We did our kind of inaugural player of the years from our yearly ranking system. And last year, Haley King just barely edged out Missy Gannon for 3rd and 4th with Paige and Kat 1 and 2. But I think this year, I don't think it's gonna be tough for Haley to get used to those discs. I think she'll be totally fine. No. I think she's gonna have a phenomenal year. I think the bigger question is the Europeans coming over. Krista Tatar coming back for the start of the season. Evelina Salonen announced it, and a few other European women have announced that they're coming over. I think it's gonna be a super exciting year. I think wins are gonna be hard to get by, and they're gonna mean so much more. But I think Haley will have a better season than Missy, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really close. I was actually just on the Statmando website.
Oh, nice.
And looking at this is all time.
Head-to-head.
1 through 20. Yeah, I was looking at the head-to-head, but I accidentally did it all time when I want to do it by year. And you guys must have changed something because I can't type in.
While you're doing that, Nick.
Yeah.
Evan brought up a great point about the European FPO players, because that's right now. Why do we focus European FPO, but we don't ever talk about MPO? It's because it seems more exciting because we have so many great MPO players, so many. FPO is more limited. So to say that there's almost 50% more of our top tier players that are going to join, that's really exciting. One of them being, I don't know how to say it. Is it Katie Tati? Like, I don't know how you say it, but she had that really epic throw in that was caught on camera over in Europe.
It was sick.
Yeah. Great throw. I mean, pure, better than a lot of aces. I saw her make a post that she says, more or less, US Tour Part 1, or she said something like that, Part 1. She's going to be over here for the first 4 or 5 events, including Waco and Vegas and all. But she said Part 1, which excites me. Does she have plans to come back and try to make it to go into the playoffs, all that stuff? But I'm excited to see new players added.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the same thing. I'm pretty sure Kristen also just announced her beginning tour, which was like Vegas, Waco, the Texas Swing, and then maybe one tournament after that. So I think she's here for 4 or 5 weeks, maybe 2 months total or something like that, just the way the tournaments are spread out. But then after that, I think there's a lot of big European tournaments that they'll go back over there for, play those ones, and then maybe middle to the end of the season is when they come back. Who knows? But I did actually get the Statmando site. I clicked the wrong button. the 2021 season, Missy Gannon, it was in favor of Haley at 12 against Missy, and then 7 losses, and they didn't have any ties. Haley winning 4 of those events, Missy winning 1 of them. Thirds and seconds and all that stuff come into play as well. But it's a pretty close season. I know you guys count the Pro Tour Championships, so you can technically say Missy did win in that category. It could go either way. I think it all depends on how much either of them are putting in the work in the off season. I think it's a big thing. I think Haley does have a super, super high ceiling, but Missy has a lot of consistency, especially the way she ended last year. I think that was a huge motivator for her going into now the 2022 season.
Okay, what I'm going to do, we've started doing lately, is bringing in listening viewers' calls. And I have 2 questions for the listeners that I want them to answer. We're going to turn the tables. Let me go ahead and jump into it. For right now, I can't get into this without the intro. So here comes the intro one more time.
Hello, man. Hola.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is ask the question, and we're going to take as many as can make it in. We're going to take the question, who is going to have the better season this year, Haley or Missy? Will you just literally give us that answer? But then in follow up to that, this is a bigger part. So before you're calling in, or maybe you won't hear this part, who's going to have the better career when they're done? Okay, who's going to have the better career? And that might be hard for you to talk about. But so who's going to have the better season this year? Who's going to have the better career? That might be one and the same. But then follow that up, another one. Who's going to have the better career when it comes to Paul, Ricky, Eagle, or other in the next career? So like when Paul's career is over, then Ricky, if his career isn't over yet, like, is he going to end up having a better career than Paul? Who's going to have the best career that we know about right now? Or you could say it's nobody we know right now. And someone's going to come out and do bigger and better than anything we've seen. So those 3, who's going to have the better season, Haley or Missy? Out of those 2, better career. And when it's all said and done, and then better career for Paul, Ricky, and Eagle. Give us your reasons on that. If you'd like to call in, give us your reasons on that. If you don't call in, we're just going to listen to Nick and Evan and rant on this one. So, what do you think? Let's jump to the guys, the MPO. Who's going to have the better career, all said and done?
I'm going to say one person that I think you missed to say, and that's Kyle Klein.
I said or other.
Okay, but
yes.
All right, fair. I'm not. It's tough to say that he'll have a better career than Paul, Ricky, or Eagle. It's tough to say he definitely will, but I think he could finish right up in there. I think it's kind of tough to say any of those guys will have a better career just based on wins and major wins than Paul, just because he's already got so many. I think Climo's record's there to stay, and I think where Paul's at is there to stay. Even Ricky with 2 world titles, and I'm not sure his major count, but it's definitely less than Paul. It's just gonna be really hard to catch up. Even if Ricky is better every single season for the rest of those 2 careers, even if he has a better season than Paul, he's not going to catch like the total accolades. But then that comes into the question of how do you weight it, of course.
Okay. So, we got someone calling it, so let's let them in. All right, we're going to let them in here and introduce yourself to the show, because we're going to actually ask you a question. What's your name?
This is Daniel from Texas again. Hello, boys.
Hello,
What's
Daniel.
going on?
So you're going to be able to hear me and Evan, but unfortunately you won't hear Nick. So we can't hear Nick all night anyway. We're just going to let him go. Okay.
Sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
No, see, Nick can hear you and Nick can talk to you, but anyways. All right. So you heard our questions. So let's start with number 1. Who's going to have the better year, Haley or Missy? What do you think?
I think Missy will have the better year.
Okay. Do you want to clarify that at all, or you want to keep that short?
Just because Haley's so young, I know she's going to a new manufacturer. I don't think that'll be a big deal, but I think this leads into the second question. I think Haley will have a better career, but right now, I think she just needs to strengthen her game mentally a little bit.
Okay. And then this one was like a pretty massive conversation, but you heard it, I'm hoping, out of MPO. Name who you think will have the best career, all said and done. You can be a fanboy here, but is it Paul, Ricky, Eagle? Evan mentioned Kyle Klein. Is it a player we don't know about yet? Who's going to have the better career when it's all said and done?
I'm going to say Eagle with a caveat. I agree with Evan. Paul has done so much already, and I think now there's just too many good players to be able to string together a bunch of majors anymore. I could be wrong, but I think Eagle has the most talent of anybody on tour right now. So I'm going to go with Eagle will be the best player overall, but I don't think he's going to rack up all the accolades that Paul had.
This is where sports talk gets good, because the reason this came up, and we'll cut you loose here in a second, let somebody else have input. The reason this comes up is because I was arguing with somebody on the course about who's going to have the better career. And somebody said Ricky. And I thought to myself, Ricky maybe end up being the best player, or as you said, Dan, it could be Eagle, but all said and done, the accolades, right? So then do we have to go all the way back to Climo and say nobody's going to ever have a better career than that based off of those wins? How would you specify? I think you already did, but how would you specify a better career?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because same thing in basketball, right? You got Bill Russell and you got Jordan, and now you have LeBron. It's really hard to compare players from different eras. I'm just saying Eagle more because I'm a fanboy, I'll be honest. And he can do things that no one else can do, like his forehand, backhand distance. He's got so much talent, but I guess it'll just be up for the debate at the end.
It is up for debate. I appreciate your call very much. Thanks for calling in anytime.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, bye. So, I think that was Dan. Dan from Texas, is that what he said? Dan from Texas.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh, Daniel. He says Dan, but he's Daniel in the chat. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
First
Our
off,
friend
really
Daniel.
quick, before, because I want to kind of shed my light on this situation. But earlier, Doc Sen super chatted. I think it was $3. Want to say appreciate that, Doc. And then Jeff also just super chatted, saying welcome to the team, Haley. $4.99. Excuse me. We appreciate that a ton. Super chats are open. If you super chat and you have a question, we'll probably ask that question live on air and everything like that. But nonetheless, we very much appreciate it.
Highest bidder over the course of 15 minutes. Exactly. So if someone outdoes you, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think it's such a generational thing in any sport nowadays, to where like who is the greatest of all time, because
it's not who is, it's who's going to be.
Well, who's going to be, or like who is right now. Yeah. I mean, no one will ever top record of world titles.
Yeah, I just feel like
story.
I feel like you're right about what you're saying. That's why I'm cutting you off. The conversation about who is the best right now, it's really hard. But like just speculating wise, and that's the purpose of this, who's going to have the better career when it's all said and done? So when Eagle's career is done, can we say definitely, does anybody feel that strongly? Like, oh yeah, he'll definitely have a better career.
My best right now, I personally think it's Paul Macbeth currently, because he showed up at the majors when he was supposed to, which is the biggest thing. And then I'm just going to put it out of the three players, because I think right now I don't see another player. Kyle Klein, an incredible player. We'll see how he ends up in a couple of years. Then I'll have a better answer for this when it comes to him. But out of Paul, Ricky, and Eagle, Paul will have the best career out of any of those three. One, because Paul did it in a time before, Eagle finally started coming to the sport in 2015. Ricky was there competing with Paul at every single Worlds. Paul did get the 5 in a row though, or the 4 in a row, and then got the 5th in 2019. I think.
Evan, are you going to cut him off?
Said and done,
I'm just chomping at the bits myself. All right, hold on. We're lining up another call. Sit tight on that call, and I'll let Nick finish up his thing here. You won't hear Nick though. Go ahead, Nick. Finish up.
Oh, I'm still going?
Why does it mute Nick? It's so frustrating. We're going to have to figure that out. I think it's your earbuds tonight.
I bet you it could. Yeah, it's because I'm opening and closing the case probably.
Oh,
my hands. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Here, let me.
No, it's still cutting out. It seems like it's.
All right, then I don't feel bad now.
Not picking him up sometimes, and then I realize he's talking, so it turns it on, and it's like almost trying to mute the surrounding.
Okay, so give your take on that real quick, Evan, and then we'll take our caller.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to supply some stats for this. So like I said, it's going to be really hard to tell just based on wins. There's going to be other calculations added to it, something that we're really interested in at Statmando, and something we'll want to do long term. But just to give it as pure wins for right now, I did Elite Series and Majors. That's Disc Golf Pro Tours, National Tours, and Majors. Paul McBeth has 55 wins. Ricky Wysocki tied with Ken Climo with 34. So that's already a 21 win gap.
Yes, but we're talking career.
And then Eagle is 12. So yeah, my point though is,
okay,
even if Ricky has a better year than Paul, let's say he wins 2 extra events per year, that's 21 wins that he needs to make up. So that's over a 10-year period that Ricky needs to be 2 wins better than Paul McBeth. And yeah, that was this year. Paul McBeth had 2. No, he had 3 Elite Series and major wins. And Ricky, I think, had 4. So we only caught up by 1. And my point also is Eagle has 12. I mentioned Kyle Klein, who just picked up his first. Like, that's a long gap to fill with just wins. And like, Paul did get a ton of national tours, a ton of majors when we were having 4 or 5 a year, back when he was dominating. And now we've only had, a couple. We're getting the 3rd and hopefully 4th this year. But just purely wins, I don't think he's going to be able to come back no matter how good they are.
Right. So this is where, okay, this is way too big of a conversation. I realized I opened up the floodgates, which is fine. The conversation is so big
to talk about.
What is a career based off of? Can we actually go to, if someone earns 20 million a year, would we say, oh, they had a better career? Or is it based off of wins? Is it based off of talent on the course? There's so many qualifiers to this question. I just wanted to say this, Nick, in response to you, and we're going to bring our caller, and I promise, is you said like, oh, Paul's done this and what he's accomplished right now, and you're saying Ricky hasn't. I'm not talking about the right now. Are you saying Ricky can't in the next 10 years win 3 more worlds and be tied with Paul on that and win another US DGC? Like, can Ricky do that? And if he does, would it be qualified as just as good? Or would it be better because it's harder because the level of competition? Like, I get that's what sports talk is about. So I'll let you wrap it up. Then we're going to bring our caller in.
Now, Ricky is 2-0 in the sense that he's got 2 world titles, 0 USDGC titles. Paul is 5-3. He's got 5 worlds, 3 US. I mean, it's a lot to make up. You're talking, 2 tournaments a year. Rarely in our sport has anyone won both of those tournaments in the same year. And that's also saying that Paul isn't going to win one of those events every single year. So next year, Ricky might go to 3-1. But next year, Ricky also might Paul might also go to 6-4. So
this is the fun. We're here to talk about it. The Nick and Matt Show.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a what if question. What if.
It is. Let's bring in our caller now. I thank you so much for being patient. Introduce yourself because we had some questions for you.
No worries. This is Matt from Texas.
Matt from Texas. We've got a lot of listeners in Texas. So the name Matt is fine. Go ahead. Did you hear all of our questions? So Haley or Missy, better season?
Yeah, so I think overall, I will say more wins this season will be Haley, but strength and consistency, so making more money and having an average higher placement, will be Missy.
Okay. I appreciate the perspective on that. How about if we're going to, and I realize this was a huge can of worms, and you can fanboy, who's going to have the better career when it's all said and done? Do you feel like there is a way to do that today? Can anybody be better than Climo or even Paul? Is the sport getting too tight where you can't base it off of wins? Like, who do you see as having a better career when it's all said and done?
Yeah, and it all comes down to how you measure career, I think. But, honestly, I heard you saying, can Ricky win 3 more worlds in the next 10 years? And the answer to that is, of course he can. Will he? I think that's going to be very difficult to do. And honestly, if you look at the player that seems to show up every major year in and year out, McBeth's always there. So I don't know how you could go against McBeth. I think McBeth will have the legacy of this generation. I'm not saying that Ricky's not right there, but I think McBeth will definitely have that legacy. I also think McBeth's gonna wind up winning in the monetary side of the game. I think he's a little bit better businessman. And I think he really understands how to build his brand and bring that all together and maximize that profit. So it depends. I would put McBeth up there as number 1.
Awesome. And just to follow up on that is you mentioned, can Ricky do it? It's going to get tougher. And that was kind of my follow-up. I don't know if you were hearing during the phone call, is the follow-up was, so if Ricky did do it, again, this is full speculation, it is harder. Would it be better if he was able to do that? And he was tied with, let's just say, majors. If he could tie majors against McBeth in the next 10 years, when we're all saying it's probably going to be a harder sport to win, would we have to say that he was better?
Well, I think you'd probably have to, but I don't. I mean, that's what he's. How many majors behind is he? He's got to be 20 majors behind Macbeth at this point in time.
Whoa, 20 majors as far as like competing in.
21. He's
as far as winning. If you look at all the European Opens and well, it's not 20, but he's lost. You know, if you look at, I don't know. Let's Statmando. Evan, you probably have the numbers right there.
He's working on it right. He's working on it right now. Yes, thank you for that question.
But yeah, so I think honestly, Ricky's probably lagging in total major victories somewhere in the realm of double digits to Macbeth. And with this competition level that's in place right now, I don't see anybody picking up in the next 10 years, 10 or 15 majors. I think it's going to be tough for anybody to pick up, 5 to 8 majors in the next decade.
Is it over then? Is it over then? Like nobody, I'm not going to say they shouldn't try. That's a stupid point to make. But is it over? Does Macbeth have it locked up, or does he have to finish out strong? As in, like, if he goes from this year forward, not placing regularly in the top 10, but Ricky is, then does the conversation totally change? Are we making the assumption that Paul finishes out strong?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to assume that he's going to continue the same trend line that he's been following.
Okay. And that's probably accurate. Now, Evan just turned his face to look at me. I don't know if he's got anything. What do you got, Evan?
Yeah, so majors are a little hard just to run queries on because there's a few majors that aren't really majors but are labeled as majors. So we need to do a little bit more data cleanup and figure out like there was one where it's like the team-based one with the countries. I forget the name, but that one like everyone comes in first place. So it's a little tricky.
The President's Cup.
Yeah, thank you. Like that, like I don't consider that a major. It might be like an M tier major, but anyways, I have it right here as Paul Macbeth having 17 major wins. You said 21 earlier?
Wins, okay, yep.
Is that what you said, Nick, or is that just a guess?
Matt in Texas or Nick?
I knew, yeah, I thought it was between 16 and 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Paul has to know off the top of his head, so maybe Hannah will say it in the chat. Like that's something I really do want to clean up too, because I think that's super important.
I'll text him.
Yeah. So I have Climo at 20, Paul Macbeth at 17, Felberg at 8, Ricky and Barry Schultz at 6.
Okay. So if we base it off of majors, which are important, that's a big deal. But this is my point too. It's going to get harder. So like, are you just going to start to weight the majors more if you're winning them? But here, real quick, before we let you go, Matt, Hannah Macbeth, we all know her. We all love her. I'm assuming we all love her. Imagine a player, she says, coming into disc golf with the same drive and work ethic as Paul when he started, but having 1,000 more resources to build a career because the sport's gotten bigger and enhanced. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's obviously going to help. I mean, you look at just what these guys are doing now as they get more serious about their nutrition and their workout regimen, taking the right breaks, et cetera. It's helping them to perform at a higher level. And if you're not having to, live paycheck by paycheck, if you will, or not even really live. I mean, you think of when when Macbeth started out, he was probably lucky if he was living at the poverty level. And that's no way to be living. So if you take away all of those, stresses of being able to, go out and do it, yeah, I think you're going to see some people that will really start to excel. I also think that that's going to bring other challenges into the sport where as this money grows, there's going to be people who are willing to do things that maybe aren't on the up and up in order to go out and get that money and get that contract. But it'll be interesting to see the kind of talent that comes in, and hopefully we don't get to a day and age here in the next decade where we're having to start looking at a lot of PED, problems and people taking, human growth hormone for recovery, those kind of things that help them to perform at a higher level longer. Hopefully it's all done, honest, and you don't see that kind of stuff coming into the sport.
We appreciate your call very much, Matt. Anytime. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Thanks so much. Take care.
All right. Bye. Okay, everybody. That was, I thought that was a pretty fantastic call. So,
yeah,
let's.
I texted Paul. He did say 16 major wins. It's the same as Paige. Actually, he said him and Paige both have 16 majors under their belts currently. And then how many did you say was Ken Climo just about?
I said he had 20.
20?
Yeah.
20. And so it's tough. I mean,
Right. So then, I mean, if you're going to use that same logic, is Paul better than Clan?
Yeah. So
yeah. Someone earlier in the chat was talking about, you know, the Ricky and the Paul and like niceness and stuff like that. I do want to say I think Ricky is one of the ever to play disc golf. I absolutely love watching him play, and I think he's incredibly good at it. He's Player of the Year this year, or excuse me, last year. Insanely good at disc golf. I'm speculating on the point of what do I think is going to happen in the next 5 years of the sport. I don't think we're going to see a dominant run of what Paul did from 2012 to 2015 in the sport for a very long time, especially with how often the courses are changing now. It goes around and around and around at this point. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's going to go around and around because then I'm going to say again, well, if he only wins half of that, but it's in a harder competition part of the generation of disc golf, is it just as good? So like, we're going to go round and round. Here's why it started. Let's wrap this up. It started because on the course, and I love this, that disc golf is at this place. I was playing against somebody. It's a team challenge, kind of like a match play type deal. And the person that was on our card was saying, oh, Ricky is absolutely the best player, going to have the best career of all time, da, da, da. And I was thinking to myself, how can you just say that? Which is why did I bring it up on the show? Because it's fun to talk about. So I thought to myself, well, who could it be? If there's people who feel this strongly, let's just talk about it all. Who do you think it is? And it comes down to fanboying a little bit, I'm sure. But that's where that came from. I would say anybody else want to talk and close out on that, but it just keeps going to go round and round. So let's just end it. Let me ask your thought on this. Paul Macbeth, from what I understand, yeah, I just said I'm ending it, then here we go. He has never really sold a disc once he was like sponsored player. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to sell my discs like that are available to me. I'm selling discs. I don't think he does. Someone can correct me. Like, yes, Hannah did fundraiser selling. That was of his. He's given them away for people to sell. A lot of that's charitable. I just felt, and I'm not trying to make a negative spin on this, but it felt weird. That's all I'm going to say, and you can react to it if you want. It felt really weird to see Ricky sign $1 million a year contract, and then a week later to be posting his discs on Dollar Disc Golf Auction saying, all the support's appreciated. Here's all of my throwers from Innova. Like, and he's putting up one disc at a time. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the support. I'm making it sound negative, but that's because it was weird. It was like, dude, you're making $1 million a year and you're selling your disc saying, please $5 for shipping, Venmo or PayPal. And it just felt weird. That's all I'm going to say about it. Do you have any reaction? Did either of you guys see that?
Well, I mean, I saw him. I mean, he listed one of his used tournament polos for like $250 or something like that. And the last bid that I saw on it was 80 or 100. I'm not really sure what it's at right now. I don't think it's weird in the sense of like there's plastic around, and he's not going to use any of that Innova stuff. So an extra dollar with it. I mean, rich people all the time. The average millionaire has 7 sources of income. But they do of residual income that go continuously in their lives. And so a lot of millionaires are millionaires because they're money, like they're not out, spending it in tons of areas, but they're also still looking at ways to make more money. And so if you're Ricky Wysocki and you can sell a polo that you've worn at a tournament before for $250, you damn well should be selling that polo and getting $250 out of it.
But bring this to the major sports.
Pay for game.
Bring this to major sports. If Tom Brady goes on to an auction page and it's not listed for charity,
worth $1 billion,
but it's not listed. Okay, million, billion. What's the difference? But no, I'm joking about that. But like, if you're going to go on and be like, I'm selling, and you don't say it's for charity, and you're like $5 for shipping, and you're selling something. My point literally is this: I like Rick. We had him on. I don't think it's bad at all. Zero. So to Nick's point, I agree. Make the money. I said it felt weird. Does it feel weird to you to hear that, Evan, at all? Or am I way out in left field?
I see where you're coming from. I personally don't think it's, okay. I wouldn't call it weird. Like I need more context anyways. Like it could be weird, but my initial reaction's like, I don't think it's that weird. I'll say this. One, there's plenty of former athletes who like win a Super Bowl, maybe not Tom Brady's level, but will sell their Super Bowl ring after, whether they're maybe in trouble, but just like don't need it or don't want it. Like, I don't know. Like, that happens. People sell their stuff. Like I'm sure they sell cleats and gloves and things like that. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But with Ricky, like Ari's been in the forefront a lot. She's probably doing all that work. So it's not like Rick on his phone or at the
but
computer.
it still looks weird.
Yeah.
And like you said, okay, he didn't mention that it was for a foundation. Like it still could be. We don't know that. It could be like he could give them all away, but then, you know, the line would be out the door. How do you choose? So maybe it's almost like you're not trying to create scarcity, but almost like kind of makes a more organized line to create fandom of Ricky, because now people are going to have a disc that Ricky threw all season or part of the season. And that's going to mean so much to them. And then even if they pay, I don't know what it was going for. Let's say they pay like $50 for a disc and then $5 shipping, $55 to throw Ricky's disc. Like I would pay $55 to have Tom Brady's cleats. And I like, what would I do with them? I don't have any idea.
I'm not talking about the people buying it. Like I would buy it
that
if I
creates fandom. So now if I was a fan and I buy Ricky's $55 disc, let's say it's not actual numbers, but I am a Ricky fan. Like he is my number one player because of that. I have a disc that was his. All I'm doing is rooting for Ricky all year long. I'm going to buy all of the discs that he didn't throw, but come from Dynamic Discs. I am pumped to be a Ricky fan because I have a part of him. That sounds weird, but you get what I mean though, is you know the disc that he threw, it creates that connection. And so, he could have gave him away. Like the money doesn't mean anything, but also like then it's like, you didn't win it as a giveaway. Like you purchased. I don't know.
All right. I'm going to just wrap it up because I'm sure I'm getting all the hate. I don't look at the comments anymore after we post a video, but I'm sure you're out there and you're really like wanting to tell me how horrible I am for saying this. I literally am just relating to you how I felt. It was the $5 shipping and then the thanks for the support. After he announced $1 million contract a year, I just felt like, thanks for the support. Like that's what we say on the Nick and Matt show because we're not making any money and every super chat matters. Thanks for the support. I'm using the word weird. Hannah in the chat, thanks so much for being in there. She's like, maybe the word you're looking for is unnecessary. I don't know what the word is. It was just my reaction. I just saw a boatload of discs being sold every day, like singles. The only other thing that I thought that might have looked more normal, that normal's wrong, that makes it negative again too, is, and how do you do this without making one sound better than the other? Paul has like taken like boxes of discs, of his thrown discs, and ship them to, before his foundation started, to Eagles Wings. Here is a whole box of discs, sell them off however you want, auction them off, all the profits go to you. Again, could Ricky be doing that? Yes. I think it was just my reaction to thanks for the support, $5 shipping, like here's my disc, and I just announced my biggest contract. That's all it was. I wish nothing but for the best for Rick, and he should make money however he can. I'll leave it with that.
I think that's totally fair.
All right, that's all. And I like stirring conversation. So if you're stirred up and you're listening to this, it wasn't fully my intent, but I knew the topic could possibly get you there. So thank you for participating in that conversation. Okay. This is a real conversation. We're running down to the end here. Disc Golf Pro Tour cards. Nick, do you have a tour card? Do you have access to a tour card? This is Disc Golf Pro Tour announced this year.
I'm pretty sure I had access to it. I didn't buy it because I'm not doing a full tour this year. So for people that are planning on doing the full tour and have the opportunity to do that, I have the opportunity to do every single event like I would like to. But fortunately, I'm above 1,000 rated, so I'm in the tiered registration of the first tier. So I've gotten into every event that I've wanted to so far, which has been nice. But I'm pretty sure I had the opportunity to get a tour card just because of my rating, and I think I'm categorized like in the group of Pro Tour players because I've played X number of Pro Tours. I don't 100% know how it works, but I do know I had the opportunity to buy one. I just personally did not because I don't plan on playing stuff out in California. Like I just signed up. I'm currently at the moment I'm signed up for Waco, Belton, and the Open at Tallahassee, which I'm pretty sure that's Florida. And then I'm going to take some time between that, when they go out to the West Coast, I'm going to do a lot more local stuff in the Carolinas, Virginia, stuff like that. And then I do plan on playing Beaver State Fling because my brother lives out in Oregon and it's not on a golf course because I don't really care to play on that many golf courses this year. So yeah, but anyways, tour cards. Yeah. I had the opportunity.
And Nick generally likes them. We've talked about this before. I think it's cool that they're coming this year. Sidestep to a funny comment that came, at least that hit me humorous. Again, thank you so much for putting up with my conversations here. If I wasn't here, we wouldn't have these conversations. Some people may think that's better, but I don't know. I'm enjoying it. Someone said, and I'm maybe reading this out of context. Someone said, if we see Ricky with a huge grill, we will know. Like, I just read that as like he's selling all his discs. Next thing, he's taking a picture of his Corvette. He's like, look what I just got. Like, I don't know, just striking me as funny. So what do you think? Tour cards, great thing. I think it's the right step, Evan.
Yeah, I love it. I'm all for it. Really anything the Disc Golf Pro Tour has been putting out lately, I'm like, yep, you're doing it right. Keep on going.
Sold on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We have to realize, and this is going to push a lot of people's buttons, especially in the New England area, because the 2 New England events got pushed into playoffs this year. So you have to qualify throughout the year by playing Pro Tour or Silver Series events, potentially majors. I'm not sure yet. I do think that they're potentially doing qualifier events for each event that may be in like a local area. Once again, I'm not 100% sure. But the sport is growing to a point to where the Disc Golf Pro Tour is going to be for tour players. I've seen a huge debacle on Twitter lately about all of this. And one of the biggest things is like, I cannot sign up for a PGA Tour, like a professional golf event. I would have to, I think it's the Corn Ferry Tour. It used to be the Web.com Tour. Like, I would have to work my way up to the amateur tour just to make it, to finally potentially get onto a tour card. And then if I don't perform well within a year or 2 that I think I get a tour card, then I get bumped off of it. And I think disc golf is slowly heading in that direction to where we are going to see the Disc Golf Pro Tour strictly for pro touring players, which I think is great.
But I agree. I like it too. I think it's the right step.
Change is hard. It is. It's just people don't like it. It's hard to adapt, especially when it affects you. I feel for people who maybe have been playing since it was the Maple Hill Open, Vibram Open, back to the Maple Hill Open, now MVP Open, who've been playing it for years or grew up wanting to play it and now they're good enough to play it and now it's tough. Like, it's tough. I feel for them, but I think it's absolutely the right choice. And it seems like they're gonna, like you said, have a qualifier event. I don't think it's crazy for the Disc Golf Pro Tour or Steve or whoever for the MVP Open to have 4 to 8 spots be open to a qualifier where you don't need a tour card. You just play, another tournament
5 spots
in July, and then you get 4, 5, 8 spots, like less than 10. I think you don't need more than 10 spots up to a qualifier. And I think there was probably like 3 or 4 New England guys who did really well the MVP Open, and I think they would be good enough to get a tour card or commit enough to play more events and get on that. Maybe the Silver Series adds in, and maybe you play 2 Northeast Silver Series, and if you do well enough, you get in. I think there's gonna be situations for those people who are good enough to get in. If you're on the last card or second to last card every day and you're just there for fun, enjoying it, like, you might get pushed out, but play good in the qualifier event and you'll still be there.
Yeah, I appreciate all the input you guys have provided on that. We are down towards the very last minutes of the show, but we'd be remiss not to note Madison Walker. She has, I don't want to say a hiatus. We've had her on. We talked about it. She went over to another disc manufacturer for a while. She was kind of injured for a while. Innova had her for a while, all this stuff. She is now re-signed with MVP. So that's MVP's, I don't want to say bigger, but as far as social media presence and player experience, that's a pretty big signing. Any reaction to that?
I think it's awesome. I haven't seen Madison for a while, and so I think it'll be good to see her get back on tour. I think MVP did need to make some sort of a move this year. I do know they re-signed Jordan Castro to his 2-year contract as well, but for Madison's sake, I think that's a big move. She does have a social media presence. She's done well at events in the past, and so I'm curious to see how much she does plan on touring this year. But I think it's a good move.
All right, and then finally, I say finally as if it's big news, but Paige Pierce's Fierce documentary released a little trailer saying we're getting close, we're wrapping it up. Here's a little teaser, and I thought it provided some pretty good value for those who like sports documentaries. This should be right up there in that. They're going to tell a story about how she lost Worlds, which they had to kind of twist the story. They're in control of the story, whatever it is, they could have made it. So they did that. And then finally, All-Star Weekend was announced, like, officially. It was kind of looming out there, you know, when it would happen, but February 11th through 13th. So we're less than a month away from this. 12 of MPO, 12 FPO, the top 8 based off of their placement last year made it in. And then the 4 behind that was like a fan vote with, I think, input from like a committee or something. So like you couldn't just fan vote somebody in. It had to kind of be like both. But that's happening. What do you think would be improvements in your mind to the All-Star event this year?
I think everyone was saying it last year. Some sort of skills competition, long drive, putting, and then if you can get like kind of target practice type of deal, I think those are must. Like I think those are must. Like that would just be really cool. And I'll say I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen again, but not do worst shot or tough shot. I forget which one was which, but best shot doubles, fine. Then if it turns into singles, like that's all cool. I don't really care about the format as long as it's I want to see good shots. You don't want to show bad shots.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Skill shots. Like All-Star Weekend, I want to see them having fun. I want to see them like razzing each other just a little bit, like competitive, but like friendly competitive. Like I'm going to make you look bad because I'm going to throw this in the basket. Like just fun. And maybe they will. They tried to do some stuff at the end of last year's, like, hey, throw over Fountain Hills hole 1 and like try to park it. It was kind of thrown together. I'd like to see something a little more formal. Just laughing, and I got to give Matt May a shout out for this chat. We don't always talk to the chat, but sometimes there's good stuff. A lot of times there is, but this one's really great. Matt May said, Ricky is great, but his deal was basically, quote, give me what Paul got, quote, down to starting a foundation, which is awesome. But if he starts hawking a drink called Fahrenheit, I'm calling foul. and that's a joke.
That one had me dying.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's a joke towards Paul drinking Celsius. So it's the idea of this guy's just calling out. A lot of it seems duplicate, but it has to be somewhat because that's what the nature of the current disc golf is. Like, should he have gotten a lot more? Then we would have said, oh, it's totally different. Yeah.
What's the saying? Like imitation's the highest form of flattery. Is that right?
Yeah.
Flattery.
Yeah. Like don't hate, appreciate.
Yeah. It means you did well. It means Paul did well. And it means that could Ricky. So yeah, like what would Ricky have to do like to change and be different? Like if he didn't, I said this last week, if he didn't do a foundation, people would be like, he's not doing a foundation. So it's like,
yeah, Paul set a great lead. So if Ricky just copies everything that Paul does, like there's nothing to hate about that. He's following good footsteps.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a 1-for-1 relationship anyways. I think Ricky's doing his own things too, but the big things you hear about.
Fahrenheit. If he does though, that means Ricky listens to the show and he went and found some Fahrenheit. So. All right. Did I miss anything, Nick? What did you want to say? We kind of cut you off the whole night. I was really muting you while you talked. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was just about to say my AirPods just died out of me, so hopefully the microphone is I can still hear it out of my left AirPod right now. But no, I'm excited. Hopefully the All-Star event has some improvements. I do hope that eventually kind of a mid-season All-Star event, like during, take 3 weeks off of the tour, say in the month of June or something like that. I'm just spitting whatever. And then do an All-Star event pretty close to where everyone's already at. So people, out in Florida don't have to go all the way to Arizona or Tennessee all the way out to Arizona, whatever. I do hope there's some improvements though. I think there's a lot to be improved on with it. But we're in the second run of it. So I'm curious to see how it goes and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to sit down and watch disc golf again. I'm very excited for that.
I don't want to make I don't want to make this conversation too long either, but I do think it'll be really hard to have kind of a mid-season event just because we're jam-packing the schedule it is. You have the All-Stars to start the season. You have a kickoff. Then before you know it, we're getting ready to go over to Europe. We as in disc golf as a whole, not me, I wish. But then you go to the Europe events, then you come back and boom, there's like 2 events and then Worlds, playoffs, the Pro Tour Championship and USDGC, and then the season's over and we're gearing up for next season for those events. I think it's just really hard to plan these extra events during the season. I think it makes more sense to be a pre and postseason kind of deal. And then like really highlight Europe. I want to see the best players go to Europe. And if you're going to schedule other events while Europe's happening, it's going to be more like Silver Series. I don't see like match play. Maybe they find a weekend. Like, I'm not going to knock it if it is that way. I just think it is tough to find a good weekend for your top players when they're all thinking about going to Europe. They're all thinking about coming back and getting ready. And then Worlds is before you know it. It's tough.
I personally feel like this is just about right. I was thinking to myself, when do you want to see it? It's like late off season, like late. And right now for logistics, it makes sense to push it as far as they can. But like anytime in January from now till the first week of February, like I feel like it's pretty perfect to see some type of an exhibition, skills and all that stuff. That'd be great. And take it somewhere really warm. It sounds like, I mean, is this Arizona, right?
Yeah, it's Tucson. It's like 100 miles from, not even 100, like 50 miles from Mexico. It's down there.
Yeah. I mean, it should be somewhere. It'd be cool if like one day we're all making bank and like they're flying them to like some tropical island.
Well, the European Pro Tour is going to Spain for their kind of all-star event in like November at the end of their season. And with a lot of those events being in Estonia and Finland, and I think Denmark has some, Sweden, getting down to Spain's a lot better of a climate, especially in November. So I think that's very cool too.
All right.
Very warm too.
I mean, there's so much that we could still talk about, like PDGA Disc Golf Rules School with Sarah Hokum and Brian Earhart. That seems kind of interesting. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. I don't know. That could cause more arguing than anything. So I think we pretty much got there, guys. We got to the point, that point in the show where we've covered everything. It's the off season, but we just dabbled in a little bit of the play and getting Evan warmed up on the keyboard over there for stats. And like, you're excited, Nick? It's coming. I mean, we're still got a couple more weeks. We haven't officially made it, but we've got a lot to look forward to. People are telling us, Nick, you need a mic. Do you have a mic?
Yeah. So I was just kind of quoting back to the chat because my audio probably sounds even worse now because my AirPods died. But unfortunately, because of COVID going on, I got it recently. Other people that I know close to me got it. I had to fly back to Massachusetts for personal matters. And it's just been a very, very busy last month due to COVID. And so I've not been able to set up exactly what I'd like to set up. And but Hannah did say to me earlier, and she's like, well, we have everything set up at the house now. So if need be, I can go there.
If need be, it need be, Hannah. It need be.
Yeah. We are working on it. Unfortunately, like I said, I just got out of quarantine not too long ago. And pretty much right when I got out of it, I had to go up to Massachusetts. That was the 1 week that I was, in studio. But give it some time. It's the same thing that happened last year. I moved down to Virginia. It's almost like, give me a week or two. We'll figure it out. Stick with us. I'm sorry.
I send Nick with equipment. He leaves it home. I mean, yes, it's been a little crazy for Nick. All right, but there's always a place for you here in studio if you choose to come back. On the weekly, that's fine. So
eventually,
then we can become a COVID breeding ground. See how many people we can pile in the studio. I can't believe. Okay. We got to wrap up. I can't believe we had like 12 people in here during MVP. Like COVID was not even a concern. Now it's like massive again. Okay. All right, everybody. Nick, we made it there. If your microphone's working like it sounds like it is, you can go ahead and close this out.
Cool. Well, to everyone tuning in tonight, thank you so much once again. Appreciate you coming on for episode 74. If you would be so kind as to hit that thumbs up button really quick. Like Matt said earlier, it helps out the algorithm coming back onto the Nick and Matt Show channel. Please don't forget to like, subscribe on the channel, comment in the chat. Check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Once again, we very much appreciate you guys coming into the show tonight. Matt and Evan, thank you so much. Ben, our new intern, will be taking things over soon enough, so we appreciate him coming down. Tell someone you love them this week. We'll catch you in the next one.
That's right, Nick. I got to include Ben in this now. Nick, Ben, Evan, you guys are awesome. Peace out.
Peace.
The Nick and Matt Show, a disc golf podcast designed for you, the disc golfer. Find the Nick and Matt Show on your favorite podcast platforms or join the conversation live on YouTube.